because it's been going on for 8 years, 5 years with the actual investigation. And my goodness, boy, we've been called names. We've had websites built about us. I've had mainstream media put me in their headlines, call me all kind of names, make all kind of false accusations, because they are the real fake news. Mike Zullo's had death threats. Sheriff Arpaio's had death threats. Those guys are the real heroes, though, because they stuck with 5 years of criminal investigation. And they're still actively massaging this thing to get something done with it. So, I mean, they have just invested their lives. They've put everything on the line. You know, I haven't been involved in the depths of actually hands-on investigation, but I have been involved in information resourcing and confidentiality, a confidant and a pastor to Mike Zullo and a friend, and all of that at a very deep level, and to Sheriff Arpaio as well. And for that, you know, taken an awful lot of heat. But the thing is, Rick, I can say to you and anyone else who has ever dared to question the government narrative on this fraudulent fake birth certificate and the man that goes along with it, you have been vindicated. Donald Trump has been vindicated. We have been vindicated. We started on it early on, even before Arpaio and Zullo got involved. We have been vindicated, and there's more to come, I promise you. Let me give a quick synopsis of what this thing is about, what we now know, why I can sit here and so boldly claim that we now know the birth certificate on the White House website is a 100% completely proven, criminally investigated, forensically proven, fraudulent fabrication. It is criminal. The man in the White House is a fraud. Somebody around him committed criminal acts with this thing. Okay? And you say, well, Colin, wait, how do we know that? It's just more of the same about layers on the document. No. Here's what we now know. We now know that at least 9 elements, and I'm going to say that perhaps more are going to be coming forward, but we know at least 9 elements that have now been proven forensically, and I'll tell you by who and how in just a moment, to have been lifted from a source document and placed on a template that was used to fabricate and create a false forgery document that has been used by Obama as his identification. Basically, they have committed identification fraud in the White House for the commander-in-chief. If you can imagine the implications of that. At least 9 elements. Not only were they lifted off a source document, but we have the source document. We know who it belongs to. It belongs to a Miss Johanna Ani out of Hawaii. We have the source document. Now, there's a whole backstory to how we got a hold of that document, et cetera, et cetera. That's not important right now. It's just important for you to know we've got the document. And we know how those elements were lifted. And not only were they lifted, but most of them were lifted as a group, which means when they were placed onto the template, they were placed in the exact same mathematical juxtaposition as the document from which they were lifted. That's an impossibility unless there's a forgery involved, a digital forgery. That can't even be done by hand. It has to be done by digital forgery techniques. But it's not just those elements. There were other elements. There were date stamps that were lifted and put into boxes on the Obama template at the exact same mathematical angles. There was an X that was in a box on the Ani document that went outside of the box and bled over into a word above it that was lifted from her document and placed twice on the Obama template with the same bleed over, the same ink stain pattern, and the same word that it bled over, the same box, and the same juxtaposition of that X in the box put on his document twice. You wouldn't even see that X on anybody's document once. You know, you did on Ani, but no one else, much less twice on the document. It was lifted off of hers. We've got video of that showing you how it was done. Not only that, all of that evidence was turned over to 2 forensic examiners, renowned. One of them in Italy, the other one in Hawaii. The one in Italy, everybody in that office has PhDs. They train law enforcement in Italy. They testify in child pornography cases, international. They use the latest digital document sciences. The one in Hawaii is Reed Hayes, who has been a document examiner for 40 years. He's written 5 books, and he worked for Perkins Coie, one of the largest law firms in America, that was used by Obama's people early on in trying to defend his birth certificate That's who Reed Hayes worked for. Reed Hayes is a Democrat who voted for Obama twice. And when the documents were turned over to him, he was going to try to prove them to be legitimate. Now he's one of the strongest supporters of the fake document understanding and has signed off on it 100% being a complete fabricated forgery. In fact, he was the one that found the X in the bleed over. And he said, this is the nail in the coffin. He said, I've been teaching this stuff for 40 years. This is a human impossibility other than being digitally lifted from one document and meticulously placed on a template document. And on and on and on it goes. And folks, there's so much more to it. So much more. You heard Mike Zullo say several times on my show about earth-shattering, universe-shattering evidence. People said, well, where's that? Where's that? So what we're looking at, that's not earth-shattering. Wait a minute, folks. That is earth-shattering. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's not the end of it, because Sheriff Arpaio himself said in the 1-hour conference that there's more sensitive information that's already been turned over to authorities that he's not going to talk about. And I can go ahead and tell you with authority, that's a lot of that earth-shattering information. Mike Zullo said on another interview with me, he said, I apologize if I led some of you to believe early on that the earth-shattering information was we found out where he was born. It was a document examination, but that examination took us to many other places. And then he said on that interview, he said, I can assure you, the deep, dark stuff we found out is way deeper and way darker than where he was born. And I can assure you, based upon the little bit that I know, that I've been entrusted with by Sheriff Arpaio and Mike Zullo, they're right. It is deep. It is dark. And that has been turned over. And there's more to come. And just like some of people that are listening right now, you know, the Obots and the operatives, called me a liar for 5 years when I would get on here and say what we knew and where we were going with it. And now you've discovered that I wasn't lying. That now we have proven with digital document experts who agreed with each other, didn't even know the other ones were working on it on different sides of the globe, both of them highly renowned experts, signed off on all of the findings of Arpaio and Zullo. The document is a fabrication. I was not lying to you. Neither was Zullo. So I'm not lying to you about the deep, dark stuff either, and about it being turned over, and about other things coming down the pike. I can't reveal those things. That's it. I'm sorry. For years I was telling you, I couldn't reveal. But finally we did. We did. In Phoenix, December the 15th, hour-long conference. Go to carlgallups.com, click on the yellow link. You'll see it all right there. Okay? But the quick synopsis is what I said. We now know it's a forgery. We know how it was done. We know the method that was used. We know at least one source document. We possess the document. We know who it belongs to. We know the 9 elements, at least, that were lifted from her document and put on Obama's document. And we've got 2 forensic experts from different sides of the globes that have signed off on it and said, oh, yeah, this is the nail in the coffin. This thing is a fake. We'll testify in court to it. And by the way, that's what they do for a living. So sometimes people, will get on to, think they're going to get my goat. They'll say, well, I've looked at this and I think this is junk. And, that little X doesn't fit that little X. Well, yes, it does. And all I say to them is this. Look, before you categorically, you can state an opinion, but to categorically say, oh, this is a bunch of junk. Well, I tell you what. You go get 40 years of experience, write 5 books, go get some PhDs, start testifying in courts in Europe and around the United States, start training police agencies, get 50 years of law enforcement, federal and state, like Arpaio, and 6 terms as sheriff, a dozen plus more years as an investigator and detective like Zullo has, become the commander of the cold case posse of the 4th largest sheriff's office in the nation, then come tell me that it's junk. Until then, your declarations are irrelevant, and you look foolish. Okay? You're entitled to your opinion, but don't come on here and tell me, I've looked at it and that's junk. Really? Who are you? You are irrelevant if that's the way you're going to come at it. In the meantime, we're going to go back to the phone lines because we've got callers, 850-623-1330. In the meantime, don't forget, it was one Donald Trump who forced Obama's hand in April of 2011 to put that document up there. It was one Hillary Clinton in 2008 and her administration who first raised the whole issue that he was not even from here. Go to carlgallups.com, click on the yellow link, and you can see the conference. You can see the documents with your own eyes. You can see some of the reports. You can hear the report on the reports, but you probably won't have those reports in your hands. You'll have executive summaries and synopsis of them probably within the next few months. But I'm saying that I'm expecting, some investigations, some congressional hearings, some federal law enforcement getting involved, and they're going to have access to all of the official reports first. I mean, it's like any other crime. I mean, you're not going to get those reports word for word until something is settled on it. But in the meantime, you can see with your eyes how it was done. You can hear the synopsis of the reports from the investigators, and in some of the interviews, Mike Zullo even read from some of those reports. So go to carlgallups.com, click on the yellow link, and that'll get you started. And let me just say, I know a lot of people are asking me, why isn't the mainstream media doing anything with this? The mainstream media is ignoring it. Let me answer that for you. By the way, at carlgallups.com, click on the yellow link. You can see what I'm going to say now, and everything else about this is there. It's a one-page archive, but here's why the mainstream is ignoring it. They have to. Because not only are they complicit in this 8-year criminal cover-up, but what has been presented now took them by complete, utter shock surprise. They are floored by it. They cannot defeat it. They cannot discuss it. They're hoping it will go away, but I'm promising you it's not going to go away. Because Obama's not going in office, and neither is Hillary Clinton. One Donald Trump is going in office. This isn't going to go away. They're hoping against odds, hope against hope, that this will go away. They can't report it. Now, the ones that have so-called reported it either lied and said, well, it's just more of the same, and they refuse to give any of the details about the points of forgery, the two forensic experts from both sides of the planet, the videos that show it so you can see it with your eyes. They refuse. They didn't even mention that. They just, it's more of the same, more of this Arpaio junk, nothing to it, nothing to see here, or they just remain silent. They have to do that. What else are they going to do? Because to dispute what has now been presented, see, they didn't in a million years didn't expect that that's what would be presented. To dispute it, they have to call a 50-year lawman, a former federal agent, and a 6-term sheriff of the 4th largest sheriff's office in the nation. They have to call him a liar. Then they have to call his chief investigator a liar, who has all kinds of investigation school certificates and degrees and years of experience. They have to call him a liar. 5 years of in-depth research. Then they would have to go to Italy and call a group of PhDs who train law enforcement officers and testify in international court cases and child pornography and digital document manipulation. They'd have to call all the PhDs a liar. Then they'd have to go to Hawaii and call Reed Hayes, who's a registered Democrat, voted for Obama twice, worked for the same law firm that Obama used to defend his lawsuit. He's the one that said this is the nail in the coffin. This is a forgery. 40 years of experience, 5 books, trains law enforcement, and testifies in federal courts all over America. They'd have to call him a liar. And it just can't be done. Plus, even if they did call them all liars, the public can now see the videos and see it being done right before their eyes. The media wasn't prepared for this. They have to hope it goes away. I'm here to tell you it won't go away. I'm not going to let it go away. Neither is Arpaio, neither is Zullo, neither are other people that I can't name their names right now, VIPs, who now get it. It ain't going away. This is going to implicate a lot of folks.